Hello, I'm Greg. I'm a member of the workforce development team here at the Greater Baltimore Urban League. And at this moment, I want to thank you for tuning in as I want to share with you that your resume ain't right. That's right. I said that right. Your resume ain't right. You know, even if you found the perfect job opportunity or it's a job that you did in the past that matches your skill set and past experiences, your resume ain't right. You spend hours perfecting your resume, making sure it outlines your skills and experiences in the best possible light. After all, when it comes to job hunting, your resume is your most important tool. But after all that work, you're still not getting enough interviews, even for jobs you know you're qualified for. Let's stop. Let's stop and take an examination to find out why not. What you might not realize is that your resume usually doesn't go to a human being after you hit submit. It goes to a computer. In fact, there's a good chance a real person will never see your resume. That's because more and more employers are using what's called an applicant tracking system. I'll refer to that quite often throughout this as simply ATS. An applicant tracking system is used by employers to screen resumes. So you ask, what is an ATS? Well, it's a computer software program that manages the hiring process. It does this by collecting and sorting thousands of resumes. Hiring managers can then screen candidates using the ATS, as well track their progress through the hiring process. Now, by digitizing the hiring process in this way, an ATS saves employers time and money. So if you want your resume to actually make it to the hands of a human being, you need to make sure it's optimized for the applicant tracking system. So how does an applicant tracking system actually work? There are four basic steps to how this applicant tracking system works. The first one is a job requisition enters into the ATS. The requisition includes information about the position, such as the job title, described skills, desired skills, and required experience. Second, the applicant tracking system uses this information to create a profile for the ideal candidate. Third, as you submit your resume and other applicants submit their resume, the ATS parses, sorts, and ranks these resumes based on how well they match the profile. Lastly, hiring managers then quickly identify the most qualified candidates and move them forward in the hiring process. So let's take this for example. If a recruiter is hiring for an administrative assistant position and has 500 resumes, their first step will probably be to search for administrative assistant. This isolates candidates that have done this exact job before. Anyone that doesn't have that exact term in their resume is out of luck. A search can contain multiple terms. For example, recruiters might perform a complex search that contains a combination of the job title, and skills. So again, our administrative assistant, we add on to that, and data entry, and add on to that, and payroll. This means that if you can predict the resume keywords that recruiters will use in their search, you'll greatly increase your chances of moving on in the hiring process. But you don't have to guess which keywords to use. All you have to do is analyze the job description to find them. So I'm so glad you've tuned in and stayed with me, as now I unveil the solution, which is found at JOBSCAN.co. JOBSCAN.co is the resume scanner automated tool that uses a process of AI technology to analyze your resume against the job description. It then reveals the top resume skills and keywords that are missing from your resume. Who uses ATS? Again, Most large corporations use some form of applicant tracking systems, as well as governments. JOBSCAN research has found that over 98.8% of Fortune 500 companies use ATS, while a Kelly OCG survey estimated that 66% of large companies and 35% of small organizations rely on recruitment software. And these numbers continue to grow. If you're applying to a large organization or a government, you're most likely going to face an applicant tracking system. If you're applying through any online form, you're applying through an applicant tracking system. Even job sites like Indeed and LinkedIn have their own built-in ATS. It's clear that ATS is here to stay. That's why it's so important to use the right keywords and format your resume in a way that makes it easy for ATS software to read. How accurate is ATS software? I hear somebody asking. And I'm so glad that you asked. Because while it's true that ATS can save recruiters time and effort in the hiring process, the reality is that these systems are far from perfect. A study by Harvard Business Review revealed that 88% of recruiters felt that qualified candidates were ignored by an ATS because they did not match the exact criteria established by the job description. Now, this suggests that ATS places too much emphasis on keywords and fails to take into account a candidate's skills, experiences, or qualifications. As a result, many qualified candidates are overlooked simply because their resumes don't contain the right keywords. Whether this is fair or not, now you have the tool in which you can work with or even beat the system. You can take advantage of this situation by making sure your resume contains the exact keywords that employers are searching for by using JOBSCAN.co. You know what? Let's do this. Let me take my resume and let me compare it in JOBSCAN.co to an announcement for a job that I once held. This job was with the District of Columbia government, and it was as an unemployment and tax insurance examiner. So let me take this opportunity now to do some toggling between screens and actually share my screen to show you what I'm going to put into the system. So first and foremost, let me share with you my resume. And you will see on the resume everything but my blacked out name and address and telephone number. But if we scan down, you'll see unemployment insurance tax examiner with the DC Government Department of Employment Services. I'll have to unshare and then reshare. The position that I will be going for, or that I will be loading up in the JOBSCAN.co, will be stop share, new share, will be, as you can see, I'm on the dc.gov website, DOES, Department of Employment Services, Unemployment Tax Examiner, exactly what I have on my resume. So what we're going to do now is we're going to grab this information as it says duties and responsibilities. We're going to cut and paste that. And we're going to stop share. And we're going to share another screen. We're going to now go to our JOBSCAN.co. Now in JOBSCAN.co, there is a paid version that you can investigate if you so choose to. We are not endorsing JOBSCAN, nor are we paid by JOBSCAN. We just believe in JOBSCAN here at the Greater Baltimore Urban League for a tool that will move you quicker to employment. So what I'm going to do is scan my resume. In so doing, it says upload your resume. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that same resume that we just saw. I'm going to find it on the file system here. I know I have it here, GBOL, and it should be a resume in a Word format, regular ride resume. It is right here. It is right here. Upload it, it analyzes, and then it asks me to paste the job description that we collected earlier. Paste that right on in there. And remember, This is a job that I held in the past. We hit scan. It does its thing, and we're still waiting for it to do its calculation. Now over here, this is the key thing. We want to get to 80, 69%. 69%. So at 80, it would say that my resume is good to go. But I did that job before. The job description hasn't changed. My resume has everything on it that I did with that job, but it's just 69 and it's not giving me 80. What did I do wrong? Well, we'll look at certain tips that JOBSCAN gives us. Honestly, I don't mess with this too much. ATS tip, adding this job's company name or web address. Well, okay, I don't understand that because I do have DC Department of Employment Services. Maybe it wants it a different way, DOES, but I do know that you don't get big points for that. Job title search, the accounting supervisor job title. Okay, so if that's the job title, I know I don't have that job title with that. But how many points did I really lose with that? Not certain. I want to really concentrate on these hard skills. Okay, hard skills, because I know this is where the big points come from, and also has soft skills. There's no matching soft skills, and then it has other keywords, accounts and employer. So I know that if I still score below 80 after addressing the hard skills, I want to come back to those two particular skills. So what I've got to do then is I've got to make certain my resume includes computation and advisory services in it. So, and then rescan it to see if I'll get a better shot at doing this or getting this opportunity. Because right now it's 69% and looking for 80%. The computer's going to spit me out and say, you're not qualified. So what I'm going to do is, as opposed to going in here and changing words and sentences for that, I'm just for illustrative purposes only going to take the keywords that I was missing, which was computation, and just put it in here. Now, please do this as a test, but remember, do not upload your resume without putting this into these words into a sentence. Usually what I do is I incorporate it into a sentence that I already have, or replace a word with these words. You want to make certain that your tense is correct as well. So as you can see, advisory services with an S. I've done this in the past, and I would just put advisory service and it would not recognize it. So it's of extreme importance that you make certain that your tense is correct and that you match the words exactly as it is shown in the JOBSCAN that it needs to see. Because if you have a different tense, if you had computations as opposed to computation, wouldn't recognize computation. If you had advisory service as opposed to advisory services, it would not recognize it. So I've got these placed in my resume. Again, for illustrative purposes only, I've not put them into a sentence. So I want to now stop sharing my screen, reshare my screen. And in resharing my screen, let's go back to JOBSCAN. And now in JOBSCAN, what I want to do is I want to upload and rescan. Okay, so what I want, my job description remains the same, but now what I want to do is I want to change this resume. So I've made adjustments to it. I've saved it, and the changes should now be in here. I'll re-upload it. And did it do it? I can tell that it did it because, as I showed you, I put in computation and advisory services right there. So now I've got those two hard skills in here. Also, you only get 5 scans with this. So you want to be careful with this. Now, how you can beat that is using different browsers, different computers. You can also sign up for a free account. I forget how many scans you get with that, but it goes to an email address. And then how you beat that is you have a number of different email addresses that you can put in there. You can always get free ones from Gmail. It may be worth that. And for those of you who have no problems with digging in your pocket, you can just pay for the system. Let's do the rescan. Right? Boom, 91%. So I went from 69 to 91 by adding those two hard skills. When we look at the report, those skills, advisory services says 1, computation says 1. All the other stuff, like I said earlier, ATS tip, I didn't spend any time with that because I knew that wasn't going to be where the major points were to be made as well with the job title search. So that is an applicant tracking system. So I highly suggest that you utilize the JOBSCAN.co for any job that you're extremely interested in. It's worth the time. Again, no resume is foolproof. No resume is perfect, as we've seen with a resume that I've illustrated with my resume that I've illustrated with a job that I've worked with before. It was missing keywords that the computer was looking for, the applicant tracking system was looking for. Once those words or keywords were imported into my resume, boom, I got over an 80 at 91 level, and I'm certain that I'll get a call from the employer. How certain am I? I've done this a number of different times, and I've had a number of different interviews with employers because I've been successful at utilizing this tool. So with that, I want to wish you much success in your job search. We play this over and over and over and over because it's something that you definitely need to incorporate in your job search strategy. From the Greater Baltimore Urban League, I'm Greg Ragg, wishing you much success in your job search.